Welcome back to Talking About Blanks, the show about the show, where we'll be talking about blanks no one asked for, but we'll literally be talking about blanks. You can fill in the blanks. We will talk about it.
Yes, we will.
As always, it is myself and Josh.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen?
Hosts of the show today, and today's show is a special themed episode. It is the childhood episode, and so there really won't be a lot of blanks no one asked for talk on today's show. It will predominantly be reflected upon myself and Josh and our childhood on up through teenage high school years and the questions that were asked to us by our very special fans no one asked for.
Yes.
Josh, how you doing today?
I am well. It is chilly in here.
It's kind of cold. We've had an interesting last couple of days,
Yes,
which this will come out much later than when we're actually filming it. But we had a strange back-to-back 2 days in North Carolina here. One day it was like in the 80s, and then the very next day there was like a chance of snow, and it was like in the low 30s.
Yes.
So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's very tough to get used to.
That's
The
North
saying
Carolina
is, if you don't like the weather in North Carolina, like, stay a day.
Yeah, just wait a little while.
But I hear other places are like that too.
Yeah.
So what do I know?
Reason. I don't know what I was going to say.
Can't claim that it always works that way in North Carolina.
Make
but
up my own word.
Yeah, that'd
but
work.
anyways, let's get started on our topic of childhood. And our first question comes to us from YouTube community page from Mr. Traveling Mark. You know what I've noticed, by the way, before we get into that question?
What have you noticed?
There's a lot of people out there that interact with our channel with the name Mark. We got Traveling Mark here. We've also got Mark Steven, I think is Delegati on Facebook. And the first time I saw it, I was like, dude, is this like Mark's fake Facebook page or something? I had to like actually do a little bit of research, and I was like, no, this is a real guy named Mark Steven Delegati. So he's a loyal fan on Facebook. But anyways, a lot of Marks that apparently watch Blanks Someone Asked For. So Mark says, what serious traumas in your younger lives led to you to become a part of the Blanks Someone Asked For troop?
Oh my goodness.
Which, by the way, hopefully that was meant to be semi-humorous.
Yes, I think so.
I do believe I was dropped on my head a few times as a child. I don't have any proof of that, but, I do have a bald spot in the back, so there is a little bit of proof.
Yeah.
Actually, I think there's a story. I could be making this up.
There's lots of stories.
But I think at one point in time, my dad or somebody tossed me up in the air, and this is really going to childhood. This is like babyhood. Like, tossed me up in the air, and the ceiling fan was on. Maybe I'm making that up, but I do remember being told that story at some point
terrible.
in time. So, I mean, at any point in time, as a kid, did you ever think you were going to be on a YouTube channel? Heck, any time before 2 years ago, did you think you were going to be on a YouTube channel?
I had no idea that I would ever be participating on a YouTube channel. But I also have a trauma. So you've got a head trauma. I've got a head trauma. So back in the day, we're unloading stuff out of the back of a truck, and I think the story is concrete blocks. My mama is chunking concrete blocks out of the back of the truck, and here I come as somewhere under 10-year-old child running around the back of the truck, and I get conked in the head with the concrete block. How I'm still here, I do not know.
I don't know.
I've got a really hard head. That's what people say, and I guess what people say sometimes is true.
Not only that, but it explains a lot.
Yeah.
Kind of clears some things up for me.
No bald spot, though, so.
That's right. Well, at least you got I'd rather be dunked in the head by a cinder block and be missing a few brain cells and have my glorious shining spotlight back there. Not really.
I got a cool nickname out of it, though.
Little bald spot.
Little bald spot.
I've grown to love my bald spot.
It's his rapper name.
I don't, as far as to answer the question seriously, I can't really think of any childhood, like, trauma, which I do believe this question to have been in the humorous realm of possibility. But, for the most part, I think I had a pretty decent childhood. Now, I did get traumatized from somebody else. When we were living over your neck of the woods, the Grain.
Wow. I never knew that. I didn't know
we're learning
Zach lived in LaGrange.
So after my mom and my dad got divorced, we moved to a trailer park in the Grain. And eventually my mom met my stepdad, and so we all lived there for quite some time. Well, anyways, we were playing around, a couple of friends in the trailer park, and playing tag or something like that. Well, whoever's yard we happened to be in, there was this pickup truck, and there was this long like pole like hanging out from the pickup truck, and it had like these little like prongs on it or something. Anyways, we're running around playing tag. Everybody else is ducking under this pole, right? Well, this other kid comes running around the corner, and literally it gets him in the eye.
Oh, like the prong or the pole?
I don't know what, but
either way, it's not a good story.
It nearly took this kid's eye out. Like, he fell to the ground just like bloody murder screaming, and none of us really knew what to do because we didn't know if he was faking or what had just happened, because we were all running away from him, and all of a sudden, next thing we know, he's on the ground crying. Come to find out, it about took his eyeball out. They rushed him to the ER, and he had to wear like an eye patch for I don't know how long. It was terrible.
That is terrible.
So, I mean, that's not like my trauma, but that's pretty traumatic, because as a kid, you don't know what to do in that situation. And fortunately, like, his mom or somebody's mom heard him crying and came out and called 911, but we very well could have witnessed like murder. Well, not murder, because we didn't kill him, but anyways.
Yeah, something like that.
So that's fun.
You've got one, I've got one, man. When you say something, it just jogs my memory.
So today's topic is childhood trauma.
So I grew up with a guy that eventually grew up a little bigger and got braces. All right, so
do you have to be big to get braces? Is that a qualification?
Not necessarily big, but you know, he was a teenager at the time, and I'm somewhere close near him. So anyway, he likes to play basketball, and he likes to dunk. And I guess he likes to dunk with his mouth open.
Oh.
So his braces got caught in the basketball net.
What?
I don't know. He was high, I guess, like jumping.
That's like Final Destination
braces
stuff right
got
there.
caught in the basketball net, and you know what comes
What did the
up
weight?
must come down. So it like ripped out a lot of his teeth.
Oh, I was just like wondering, like, dude, if that got caught, like, this guy's any heavy whatsoever, like that force, like gravity's going to do what it's intended to do.
Yes. Like, and it did.
Oh, gosh.
He removed quite a few of his teeth just from braces. Man, that glue's some good stuff.
Something.
Like concrete, cement, whatever they put on your teeth. Yeah, it's not coming off till it gets yanked out by a basketball net.
Ugh.
Poor guy. All right, and for our next fan question, Miss Holly Gentry asks, at age 5, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Do you know?
I do. I do know what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I'm still not there yet. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't grown up quite yet.
Yeah, we've just learned how to act in public. Most of the time.
Just barely acting good enough to go out in public sometimes. Anyway, that's why we film in the studio, because we don't get out in public much. But yeah, not just play.
So what did you want to be?
I wanted to be. No, this is going to shock you.
Yeah?
Yeah. You would. I don't think you ever would have guessed this one.
Okay.
I wanted to be a professional wrestler.
You too?
No way.
Yeah, that was my answer.
Okay, so I grew up on, when I was younger, I grew up on wrestling. Like, in the past 10, 15 years, I guess I got kind of away from it because it all changed, I guess. And I didn't change with it. So back when older Hulk Hogan and Sting and Lex Luger and
all the classics.
Oh man!
Yeah, I mean, hey, if
Ultimate Warrior,
if we'd have been born a little bit closer together, we might have been a tag team at some point.
Oh, dude, what would they call us?
Cinder block and bald spot. Oh boy, yeah, no, I wanted to be a professional wrestler. You know, like professional wrestling ever since I was a kid, and at some point in late middle school, early high school, actually trained for a year with a local professional wrestling, UWC, the Universal Wrestling Council here in Kinston, North Carolina. Very hot warehouse in downtown Greenville, North Carolina. Sunday afternoons, my mom and I would go up to my Mima's house. We'd eat lunch.
My Mima.
Yeah, my Mima. And then she'd go drop me off at this hot, blazing warehouse for a couple of hours to get beat around the mat. And
Sweat box.
you got it. I made the mistake one time, the first time that I ever showed up. And
Wearing spandex?
Ate a full meal at Mima's, the whole 9 yards, the entrees, the sides, the desserts. Showed up for my first, and I'm thinking I'm middle school, like they're going to take it easy on me. No, like I think they're like hazing the new guy. I was put through the absolute most treacherous workout routine I have ever in my life done, probably to this day. And it wasn't probably an hour into it. I was throwing up everything me and Mima ate at Mima's house that day.
Billy Blanks, your trainer?
Yeah, no. Well, never mind. So yeah, professional wrestling. It was something I wanted to do at one point in time. And then I realized, hey, I'm too skinny and I'm not cut out for this stuff because I don't like working out.
Yeah. Did you have a backup for if the professional wrestler didn't work out?
Dude, I had a lot of backups.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a veterinarian until I figured out I'd have to do surgery on animals. I love animals, and so I could not do that. I wanted to be a state trooper.
Dude, me too. This is weird. We're so opposite, but our jobs are kind of lining up like what we really wanted to be. So my next one, other than wrestler, was a NASCAR driver, a racer.
That was not.
I wanted to be in that. And then the next one after that was like a motorcycle racer dude. So I don't even know what you call him.
Motorcycle racer dude seems like a toy you would buy at the Dollar Tree. Look, Mom, motorcycle racer dude.
A motorcyclist or I don't know. I can't remember what it's called. That's I got the need for speed, I guess, or punishment.
Yeah, so
getting bumps and bruises.
Shout out to you because that's kind of where I got the idea for the chest chop challenge. And I'll move away from the subject after this, but I was never late. My mom always dropped me off, obviously, but I witnessed firsthand what happens when you're late to professional wrestling training. You get a chest chop train.
Wow.
And so literally or at least this is what happened at this particular facility. They took your arms and they wrapped them around the top rope and the middle rope, so you're just kind of hanging in suspension. And then literally everybody that's there for training that day would line up and just chop you as hard as they could in the bare chest, basically until the head coach said, "No, it's enough." And
So you were never late, right?
Absolutely not.
Thank goodness.
I would have nothing left. There would be bone.
Yeah, you've had like PTSD when we did the chest chop challenge.
No doubt. So yeah, great question, Holly, and you've just unlocked some new similarities between Josh and I.
For real, that we didn't even know existed.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So, the next question, or questions, as I'll say, we'll just do these combined because they do kind of tie into one another. Ambassador Katie asked, what was the worst trouble that you ever got in as a kid? And then Ambassador Tanya asked, what is the worst punishment that you ever received as a kid? So the first part of the question is, what did you get in trouble for as a kid? What was the worst trouble you got in? And then the second part of the question is, what was the worst punishment that you ever got in?
So for me, the worst trouble I ever got into that I can remember, and this one's kind of vivid, I guess. So,
just yesterday.
Yeah, just yesterday. No, this was like 27 years ago or so. So we're going way back.
Delinquent 10-year-old.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So maybe even younger than that. Maybe I underestimated. We went to one of my mom and dad's friends' house, and oh man, I just thought of another one. But yeah, my life's full of them.
No,
yeah. So I'll tell you two. And all right, so I'll start with the early one first. So I went to one of my mom and dad's friends' house, and before we even go there, my dad's like, "Don't get anything out. Don't play with anything. We're gonna go over there and eat or whatever, and then we're going to watch some TV, hang out for a little bit. Do not play with the toys.
So we know what Josh did.
Oh, man. And the bad thing is she forced them on me.
Which, by the way, you just spurred something.
The woman of the house said, hey, would you like to play with these toys while you're here? What am I going to say? Oh,
she baited you.
My word, yes. And I took the bait, and I played with toys that day. And when I got home, I felt the wrath of my dad.
Did you have a harmonica?
Man, I would have blew the little reeds out of it. Oh, so I remember getting like tossed from the hallway to the bed. And I was told to stay.
You want to be a professional wrestler, son?
Yeah. I was really thrown off the top ropes and slammed into a table. No, not really. From hallway to bed, and I was made to stay in there. And then I think I got more stuff after that. But yeah, that was the first thing. Second thing is when I grew up a little bit, I started riding 4-wheelers, and I started hanging out with some delinquents.
No.
Yeah. So anyway, it was like snowing, raining one day. So it's probably around this time of year. We went riding, and we found like this crazy place in the woods that, I mean, how do you get stuff inside the woods that wouldn't fit in there? It's like a trailer with no path. How do you get it in there? You airlift it and set it down. So we went in there. It must have
been there before trees.
Yes, I guess so. So there was cars in there. I have no idea. There was a little 4-wheeler path that got in there. Yeah. So maybe it was once a highway at one time. But anyway, we went in there, and of course we found stuff inside the trailer, and we found stuff inside the car. And where does the axe and like sledgehammer come from? I don't know. But
oh boy,
we treated that house like a salvage yard or something, man. We were banging things and
making your own rage room,
dude. I got in big trouble for that. Had to pay that guy a ton of money for all the stuff we broke. Oh my goodness!
You learned your lesson.
I did. I'm never going anywhere else with a sledgehammer and destroying personal property.
Yeah, so I also have two, and I'll start with the earlier one. Very similar to your story. Went over to a friend of my mom's who was babysitting me for, I guess, the evening. Mom was like doing night classes, community college, LCC, and so she dropped me off, different places to have them watch me for the evening. So anyways, I'm over at this person's house, and this lady is like, play with toys, whatever you want to do. I don't know if it was the same person's house or not, but
was it in LaGrange?
It actually was.
Wow. Was it near the railroad track?
Anyways, I actually kind of was, but not the same person, I'm sure. Yeah. So anyways, I go over to this person's house. I start playing with toys, and I'm like, there's a lot of toys in this toy box and stuff, and so start playing with toys. Anyways, I see some toys that are open, and I'm like, why hasn't these toys been opened? I'm going to play with these. These look like really cool toys. So start opening up toys and playing with toys. Come to find out, these toys were like probably worth
collectibles,
quite a bit of money. And of course, me and my bald-headed delinquent self opened up a bunch of these valuable toys and just started playing with them. And because there was nothing you could do about it at that point. I mean, what's done is done. But I did get a nice rear ending when I got home. Not sure how that helps anything, because I didn't know, and I wasn't told specifically to stay away from those toys. But anyways, that sucks for them. Sorry. But
be a little more specific when you say play with the toys.
Yeah, exactly. Not
just
all
those toys.
Yeah, just not those.
The ones that are out of reach.
Yeah, the ones that I had to climb the
Why'd you go get the ladder out of the barn to go get those toys?
Yeah. So thanks, Tanya and Katie. I really wasn't a bad kid, so I didn't get too much punishment. I didn't really do a bunch of stuff that I shouldn't do, and if I did, I didn't get caught. So
Our next question comes from Mr. Sam Hazel, and it is, who was your childhood crush?
And we're talking celebrity crushes here, because we're not trying to get in trouble. But you want to go first? You want me to go first?
You go first. Sir.
All right. So, right off the top of my head, I had this stint where I was obsessed with Emma Roberts. And so I know you probably don't know who she is or not familiar with her. But when I was growing up, there was a TV show.
Are you going to pop her picture up there too?
I don't know. That might be a little weird, but I can't remember what the name of the TV show was. It was a real popular TV show. I think it was on Nickelodeon. But anyways, I was obsessed with her for like the longest time. And this was like right around the time I first started noticing girls. And so like, I guess this was what could be considered as my first celebrity crush. Mm-hmm. And so like my little laptop that I had, like that was my background, was like a photo of her, and it was real cheesy and whatnot. But yeah, I won't go any further into my adulthood with any celebrity crushes, but I think it's safe to stay in that realm there of early teenage years.
Yeah, I think we're safe. For me, I guess my favorite childhood crush, and I think you'll know exactly who I'm speaking of. Saved by the Bell,
of course,
Kelly Kapowski.
Yeah, I think that was your era.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
Everybody had a crush.
Spent a lot of time watching Saved by the Bell.
Not for Zach Morris.
Yeah, always wishing I was Zach Morris. Oh boy. My other one probably would be like the Pink Ranger on the Power Rangers. Don't know her name.
Oh, okay.
But
in the mask or.
Oh, well, maybe lose the mask, keep the outfit, right?
Yeah,
I'm gonna be in trouble when I get home.
And what I also hear a lot of from people your age,
yeah, thank you,
is which I guess it's kind of it might be more my era. You ever watch Boy Meets World?
No.
Okay, so maybe it is more my era. Topanga on Boy Meets World is always a popular one. I always see like people pit Kelly and Topanga up against one another, and that's like an age-old question: is which one is the better celebrity crush? But anyways, I think we've dwelled on this question maybe a bit too long.
We better go to the next topic. Next topic is
oh boy. So what was your favorite childhood cereal, and is it still your favorite? And that question comes from Mr. Mark Gentry. So favorite childhood cereal, and is it still your favorite?
Okay, so it's very hard. There's many cereals, but I've narrowed it down to about 3 or 4 cereals that were my top favorites. So I really enjoyed Honeycomb.
Yeah.
Loved that one.
Classic.
Loved Quaker Oat Squares. That's my old man cereal, I guess. My old man little self.
It tastes like sand.
No. You got to put some stuff on it, like maybe a little bit of sugar.
Hang on. All right, hang on. Let's stop right there because I feel like we can have some good discussion here. If you have to add anything to cereal other than milk, the cereal is not good. Just my opinion.
I don't have to add anything.
Fight us down there in the comment section. But like Frosted Flakes, for example, as far as I'm concerned, it tastes like hardened parchment paper. It does not have a flavor to me. And people
why wouldn't you just say cardboard instead of parchment paper?
Well,
how old are you?
That's me. I've got to be very specific.
Wadded up scrolls.
Scroll squares.
Yeah.
Anyways, Frosted Flakes. People always tell me, you just got to add some sugar to it. Or Rice Krispie Treats. Another one. Tastes like rabbit food. Just add a little bit of sugar to it.
Shame on you.
If you have to add sugar to the cereal, it's not a good cereal.
Okay.
And that's my opinion. Why wouldn't you just add the sugar to begin with into the cereal and make it a sugary cereal?
Because then maybe they care about the person eating it. They want them to eat it longer. I don't know.
I guess you can tell from maybe my reaction to this question. I love sugary cereals.
Yes.
I'm a giant kid when it comes to
Count
cereals.
Chocula.
Exactly. And even Count Chocula sometimes isn't sweet enough for me. Like, the sweeter the better. And even as an adult, when I go down, this is why my wife doesn't like for me to go to the grocery store by myself. It's because when I go there by myself, I get lost in the cereal aisle. And if it's a new cereal with a new flavor, I don't care if I eat one bowl of it. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to try it. Rainbow Sprinkle Unicorn Loops. I don't know if you've seen them. I had to try some of those. They weren't great, but
How about the Twinkie cereal? Did you try that one?
that is actually very good. And the Cosmic Brownie cereal is also very good. The Honey Bun cereal, also great.
How about the French toast cereal? Did you try that one? The one that actually looked like loaf bread
yeah,
French
yeah,
toast?
yeah, that's age old.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, see,
French
I'm age
Toast
old.
So as a kid, like naturally, I had a knack for sugary cereals, and so my go-tos were always like Oops All Berries from Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
Like I was never crazy about
I like that one.
the regular square pieces. I liked all the berries.
I like the regular squares too.
Fruit Loops with marshmallows.
I was more of a Fruit Loop man.
And then I did like honeycombs, but I was always more leaning towards the strawberry limited edition flavor that they had. So it was like half regular honeycomb, half strawberry honeycombs, and it would turn your milk pink.
Yeah. There was another one called like Sunrise. This has been a long time ago.
Honeycombs with orange juice.
Yeah, there's sugar in that.
That's terrible.
Plenty. Yeah, that was a good one. And let's see. Golden Grams. Fruity Pebbles. Those were those are my top
I
four.
can get down with Fruity Pebbles, but sometimes the texture gets to me because if you don't eat
You gotta
Fruity
eat 'em
Pebbles
quick.
in like the first 5 minutes, you're left
Soggy
with like
paper.
Yeah, like
Parchment paper.
exactly, like soggy fly wings. Like those things are just gonna disintegrate on you, and you end up pouring
Scroll
half
clippings.
of it down the toilet. Scroll clippings. Did you ever do this as a kid? Which, by the way, while we're on the topic of cereal, I like the rabbit trail. If you didn't finish all of your cereal, what did you do with it? Because it's in milk.
Look at me. I finished every bowl of cereal ever, unless I found something in it like a hair or something, then it went in the trash.
Did you ever pour a bowl of cereal and realize you don't have any milk?
Yeah, or had the milk and it was bad.
Ooh, yeah,
So-
chunky. Anyways, back to my first question.
Yes.
I was always like, I couldn't finish a bowl of cereal. Like, I would pour the bowl too big and then realize I'm not this hungry, and so I'd have too much cereal left over. You can't pour it in the trash can because there's milk in it. I don't know if this is a normal thing to do or if this is something that my parents taught me to do.
He put it back in the bag.
No.
Okay. I was worried.
I poured it in the toilet and laid toilet paper over top of it to weigh it down so that it would all go down the toilet. Because if you didn't put toilet paper on it, it would go down and it would come back up. And then the next person that went to the toilet would have Fruity Pebbles floating around in there.
None. Honestly, dude, I don't think I've ever really not eaten my whole bowl of cereal.
Is that a normal thing? Do other people do that? Or
No.
is that just some weird thing that my family came up with? Pouring cereal down the toilet and covering in toilet paper.
Most people are going to say they pour the milk in the sink and then throw.
That's too much work. Then you got to like do the spoon thing where you like try to like
strain it.
have a strainer.
That's
and
what the strainer in your sink's for. Strain it.
That's
and
too much work.
Dump the strainer in
My
the trash.
parents would get mad at me if I ever poured cereal or anything like that in the sink and left it in there.
But they wouldn't get mad if you dumped your cereal in the toilet. He had to hide it. I mean, he had to put toilet paper over it so it didn't come back up.
Oh my goodness gracious. Anyways, yeah, great question. I like our differences in cereals.
Sometimes we differ.
Yeah, you got a little bit of old man in you.
Yeah.
Still a little bit of a kid at heart.
Yeah. So our next question is from Holly. What is your favorite childhood food, movie, song, game, or book? So I'm going to be like a no on the book because I don't read very much. But I did when I was in school and was forced to read. I would read Goosebumps books.
Goosebumps. That was another good. Did you like the ones where you could choose your own adventure? Did you ever do those?
I don't know if I did those.
Those were too new school for you.
Probably so.
So there was Goosebump books where it was like choose your own adventure, and so you would read through like the first maybe 15 pages,
Yeah.
and then you'd come to a page where it's like, okay, if you want to
Skip the
take
page.
this, path, go to page 66. If you want to take this path, go to page 17. And so then you'd go to page 17 and you'd read, and then you'd come to another part in the story and you'd jump to another portion of the book. And so you could read the book like 5 different times and get 5 different endings to the story. Pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
If Actually, that might be pretty cool to like get one of those just for the fun of it and see what that's like. But yeah, if you've not tried one of those are really awesome. So yeah, favorite games?
Games. Let's see. You go ahead. You go ahead with the games.
I was never one for playing outside. My dad would literally have to like tell me, go play outside. And then I was like knocking on the door like every 30 minutes. Can I come in yet? Can I come in yet? Can I come in yet? Because I was a video game kid. So I was, every new video game system that came out, I'd wait about a year after it came out so the price would drop and then I'd get the new video game system. So I had the Sega, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, the GameCube. And then somewhere along the way, I had the original Xbox and the original PlayStation, but then I split and I went on Xbox 360 and stayed on that for a while. And then I jumped to PlayStation again once PlayStation 3 came out. And so it was PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4.
All right, there's an epic debate on this. Which one? PlayStation or Xbox?
It's been so long since I've It's been so long since I've done anything with Xbox. PlayStation, which I've not played anything on PlayStation 5. But the last thing that I played on an Xbox was the 360. So, and all I can remember from my days with the 360 is the red ring of death, and so that doesn't bode well for my memories of the Xbox.
Right.
So PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm a PlayStation guy also. So, but
Halo.
I did kind of similar to what you did, where you played the 360 for a while, the Xbox 360, and then you went back to PlayStation. I could never get over like where the X and the A, like I would always be hitting the wrong button, and what am I? I don't get it. Why am I like that? Were you like that too? Okay, good.
Oh yeah.
It's like, it makes me feel like such a big dummy.
Trying to go back and forth is not easy. We used to have sleepovers as a kid, and we'd spend countless hours into the night playing James Bond on the Nintendo 64.
GoldenEye.
That was like the best game.
Oh, yeah.
Metal Gear Solid, the Dragon Ball Z original game.
Didn't get into that one.
But like all those, like I just remember those nights just being like endless. Like now it seems like the days just fly by like it's nothing.
Yeah.
But I could it's like one of those nights felt like a week. Like we were up playing games like forever.
Right.
It's great stuff.
So the probably the one game that stands out to me was on PlayStation 2, and it was Twisted Metal 2. That was by far one of the, to me, that was out of the ones that I've played, and I've played a lot of them of the series, but that was probably like the best one to me.
Sweet Tooth.
Oh yeah.
So, funny story, actually, right before Mark and myself got married, we'd have, just random nights where
Mark and myself got married. That's
really Mark and his wife got married, and I got married to my wife.
Gotcha.
Mark and I were never married at any point in time. But we'd go to Blockbuster when it was still open, and we'd rent a game, and we'd, just play through it as fast as we could. And one of the games that we rented on PlayStation 3 was Twisted Metal Black.
Mm-hmm.
And we played through it and beat the two-person story mode in one evening. So that's always been something like we remember just like that, like Twisted Metal. Good memory.
Oh, yeah. Very good memories.
So any particular like movies come to mind?
Oh, so I was a big Ninja Turtle fan, like when they were back in the 80s and early 90s when I guess the movies were just popping out. Huge Ninja Turtle fan. So I liked all those, And then The Princess Bride when I was little. I guess I've watched that movie like thousands of times. It's still good though. I mean, I still sit down and watch it right now. When I was even younger, probably like Aladdin, cartoon Aladdin.
Mm-hmm.
That was like the bomb movie for me, I guess, back then. Like kids, like shows, like DuckTales.
Oh, yeah.
Darkwing Duck,
Ooh.
Chippendales, Rescue Rangers.
I thought I was the only person that really liked Darkwing Duck. I felt like Darkwing Duck never really got the glory that it deserved.
Yeah.
I always felt like it took a backseat to a lot of the other television shows that were out at that time. Another one, while we're on the topic of television shows, you remember Bonkers?
I do.
And
the cat, wasn't a cat?
Yeah, and Bobcat and Freakazoid.
Freakazoid. Was that a show or was that?
It was a show.
Okay,
He had like this red spandex suit and this tall, black, crazy hair. He was like a blue guy.
I don't remember.
I don't remember the specifics of the show, but I remember really liking that show. As far as movies go, my brother and I, my stepbrother, not my half brother, decided one Saturday that we would try to see how many times from start to credits we could watch the movie Napoleon Dynamite.
You poor thing.
And so literally, like, we woke up early that Saturday morning at, like, I don't know, 6 a.m. and started the movie. And when it hit the credits, we started it over. And almost from sun up to sundown, we watched Napoleon Dynamite. And I don't remember how many times we got through it, but for whatever reason, we really enjoyed that day.
A previous person asked about brain trauma. There we go.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. I have watched it. I've watched it all the way through. It is not a great movie, but it is a decent movie.
How, I don't
The
think
the whole thing of the movie is like, what's it going to get to me?
There
It's
is
like,
none.
What I keep watching because there's going to be a point.
No, there's not. The whole movie exists solely for the one-liners, and they withstand the test of time. So, yeah. Anyways, that was probably one of my favorite childhood movies.
Did you ever watch Knight Rider? Did you ever watch that? That was probably a little before.
The Hoff?
Yeah, the Hoff. I
Yeah,
used
it
to
was
love
before my
that.
time.
MacGyver.
I actually did watch MacGyver.
Yeah.
MacGyver, Gilligan's Island.
Gilligan's Island. Yeah.
I was one of those kids that I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, and so a lot of the shows that was on their televisions, I found myself like getting interested in because I was there like every weekend or something like that. So MacGyver, Gilligan's Island, Three's Company was always one that would come on like Nick at Night.
Never got into that one.
And so yeah, I would always ask for like those season DVDs for Christmas and stuff. So it was really weird. Like you got this 10-year-old kid that's getting MacGyver seasons 1 through 3 on DVD.
Got duct tape for Christmas every year, and a Swiss Army knife. Could get out of any situation.
That's right.
How about Quantum Leap? Did you ever watch that?
No,
Oh my
that's
goodness!
before my time.
That is a good one though.
That's before
I
my
think you
time.
would like that.
Maybe so.
The dude comes back as like anybody. Goes through little portals or whatever. He's got his little sidekick, invisible friend. Man, that's a good one. You should definitely go and check that one out.
I might have to check that one out.
Yeah, Quantum Leap.
Quantum Leap.
Yeah.
All right, Josh. So we got another question from Ambassador Katie, who asks, it's kind of a two-part question. Did school suck like it does now? And how did you deal with people? I have a feeling that your school and my school were probably a little bit different
Yes, completely.
as far as our experiences go.
Yeah. So I went to a private school, and at the time, school sucked, I guess, as you can say. But looking back on it now, it's like, man, those were some really good years. So older me is like, go back and do it all again, and try harder, and man, just do your best, do better than you did the first time at least. So the friends and stuff, some of them are still there, some of them are we all said we're all going to stay together.
Yeah, we know.
I guess every year says that. We're going to be that class that sticks together through thick and thin and all that. Some of us kind of do. Yeah, I'm sure you still got some friends that from when you graduated or whatever. But you still drift apart. Life happens, and things happen, and people split ways and move states or whatever. But for the most part, man, I'd love to go back.
Glory days.
Yeah.
Is that Bruce Springsteen?
Glory days. Yeah. Yeah. So that for me, I'd go back. Yes, school sucks in a way, but for the most part, I'd definitely go back and redo it all again.
For me, I would not. No.
Oh.
No way, shape, or form. It's funny just how people interact with one another. And so from elementary school, I was an honor student in elementary school. Middle school, I was an honor student in middle school. And then I started to get like into early high school. and I tried to be like that kid that wanted to fit in with the cool crowd. And it became like no longer cool to get good grades. Like everybody poked fun at the kid that got good grades because their grades were in the toilet. And so like I started like almost intentionally not studying and tanking and stuff like that because I wanted to fit in. And
I wish that I could
be like the cool kids.
Yep.
And I was never in the cool kids group. Somewhere along the way, Taylor and I found each other. I always think that we like met in middle school, but I have to remember it was in high school. And so I never really had like the clique. People have like the jocks and the nerds. I guess I maybe fell in with like the theater kids, but somewhere along the way, like I just didn't fit in with anybody. Yeah. And so I intentionally tried to fit in with the cool kids by like not getting good grades, and that backfired on me.
What did Taylor see in you?
I don't know, because Taylor was on a completely different clique than I was, which again, I really don't know. I think pro wrestling maybe is actually what drew us to one another. And then we started hanging out because of pro wrestling.
Did he get a body slam you and stuff like that all the time?
We actually, and if I think I still have some of the videos. I'll put them down at the bottom. Early high school years, we would go out on a trampoline and do like wrestling moves.
Yes.
And so I was a little bit, I guess, in better shape then.
Yeah.
And Taylor was a little bit smaller, and so we were power bombing each other and throwing each other off of the trampoline onto the Jeep. Like I had a Jeep, and we'd throw each other off the roof of the Jeep.
Yeah.
And
so when you were really into wrestling, when you were younger, which you're still into wrestling now,
yeah,
just as much as when you were younger?
No, not so much.
So when you were in your prime wrestling, watching it and all that stuff, who was your wrestler?
Chris Jericho was always a favorite. Still is a favorite of mine. He's kind of timeless. And, of course, the new age would be CM Punk, which you don't know anything about CM Punk.
No.
But, yeah. So just going back to the school thing, I guess if I could go back, or if I had to go back, I would. And that's the one thing that I would change is be consistent. Like, don't alter, like, what people think of you and let that change who you are. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like Josh said, these people that you're interacting with in school now, at the end of the day, 5 years after you graduate, you'll probably never see them again.
Yeah, most of those you'll never see again.
Our 10-year reunion was supposed to be 2020. And, I start like looking through like the list of everybody that's like interacting on the post of like, it's been canceled. We're going to have to reschedule. And I'm like, just looking through the people that are like liking it and responding to it. I'm like, dude, if I wanted to see any of these people in the last 10 years, I would have made the effort before now. That's just like, most of those people, to be frank, weren't very kind back then. And so, people that aren't kind in high school normally grow up to be people that aren't kind as adults. And so, that would be my advice is don't let those people dictate how you act or anything that you do, because they're not going to amount to a hill of beans in a couple of months or years after you graduated. So, all right. Mark Gentry asked the question, what one piece of advice would you give your younger self? And that's a deep question. And I don't know if we have time to unpack that question, but do you have anything like surface level that you could speak to there?
If I had a piece of advice that I would give my younger self, I know this probably is what most people say, setting your goals high, and trying to achieve those goals, that's one thing that I would tell myself, don't quit, don't give up. And I have more of that mentality now than I did when I was younger. Like I'd give up so easy when I was younger, but it's like I don't really have a whole lot of quit in me, not until it's completely over and there's no chance at all. There's always, that last minute, push, but yeah, so yeah, don't give up, try to go after those goals. That would probably be mine. What about you?
Yeah, I guess I'll just kind of tie into what I was talking about a little bit earlier. as far as just like, I was a much different kid than I am an adult. And I don't really know when it started happening, because I feel like I was a very outgoing kid in, elementary school, early middle school. And then somewhere along the way, I just kind of started being reserved. I didn't talk to a lot of people. I kind of gave off like the guy that nobody wants to mess with, and so at some point I just went into my shell, and it really didn't start coming back out of my shell until I started working in retail. 16 years old, first job. I'm out there on the sales floor being literally forced to talk to people that I don't know. And it wasn't until then that I really felt myself almost reminded of myself of what I used to be like as a kid. And so, during those years of early middle school on up through early high school, of just kind of being that quiet, reserved kid, my advice would just be to go out of your comfort zone. And I feel like a lot of us are held back by the things that we feel like we can't achieve, because we're scared to go past that line. We're scared to kind of bump up against that guardrail, because we're afraid of failing. But failing's not necessarily a bad thing. That just kind of lets you know you got to try a little bit harder, kind of like you said, don't give up. But, if it weren't for me consistently kind of pushing the guardrails on what I'm comfortable with doing or confident in doing, we wouldn't be sitting right here today. Because 5 years ago, I would have never had the confidence to do some of the things that I have done. And certainly because of fear of what people would think. If I do this, people are going to think this about me, or they're going to make this assumption about me. No, I don't care. I want people to watch and I want people to have a good time. But at the end of the day, if you don't like it, it's not your cup of tea. That's perfectly fine. It's no hard feelings. But I'm having a great time. And I feel like as a whole, we are having a blast. And so, and we've not gotten a lot of hate comments yet. I know as we get bigger, they will come, because with exposure comes, contrast and people with differing opinions. But don't let people that think differently than you hold you back or hold you down, is what my advice would be.
Great advice.
All right, so this has been our childhood episode. It's been a little bit all over the place, because we're jumping from like age 5 to age 16 to age 10 and all around the park. But yeah, so that's a little bit about us.
Yeah, when you're dealing with kids' brains, they just don't stay in one spot forever.
I think
it's like popcorn; it's going to fly over here. Once it pops, it's going to fly over there. So,
and when you're apparently thrown into a ceiling fan as a very young child, that doesn't do much for your correlation and making things line up very good. So, yeah, if you guys have any ideas for future topics that you'd like to see us discuss, and it doesn't have to be just myself and Josh, let us know. What are some specific topics, either from our past, either from holidays, whatever the case may be, a topic of discussion. Let us know in the comments, and we'll try and build an episode around it. Also, what blanks related topics do you want to see us discuss? What have we not tapped into that you really want to hear the behind the scenes stories of? Because we'd really love to give you some, what is it, spill the tea?
Yeah, we might study up, spill the milk.
The chunky milk in the toilet. Make sure to cover it in toilet paper. Any closing comments, Josh?
Oh, man. I don't have anything else, man. I think I've told you all my childhood. So
we've learned some things about each other that we didn't know.
Right. I'm definitely shocked about some things. It's like, man, I would have never thought that about you. And then,
yeah, we could have been a state trooper tag team in pro wrestling.
Hey, we would have learned a lot in both of those.
You'd have brought to the ring your Quaker Oats, and I'd have been there with my unicorn sprinkle cereal, but we'd have been there nonetheless. So this has been Talking About Blanks. Thanks for joining us today, and remember, if you can fill in the blanks, we will talk about it. But wait, there's more. Still got that itch for more blanks no one asked for? Click that bottom left video down there to see the content that YouTube thinks would be the best for you.